Welcome back to Rehabilitation Revelations World. My name's Chase.
I'm Christopher.
And hold it to.
Awesome, dude. We got Holden with us today. Look, I guess today we really wanted to talk about where we're at now. I know we've had a few guests on. We've talked with a few different people about their stories, about where they were, what they came out of. And we just kind of wanted to recap our last few months, how we've learned from these individuals, what we're about, where we're kind of going, and just kind of opening that up for our growth, for your growth, and what we're trying to do on a day-to-day basis. So,
Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy story after crazy story. Like, every time I expect something simple to happen, it's the opposite. You know?
yeah,
For real though, where I'm at right now is like hearing everybody's story, but where they're going with it. You know, like how their life has changed from it, obviously, but for the good. You know, I mean, with what's his name? Your buddies, Jeff. Also Dylan, with Nikki, and then with Carl.
yeah, and Heath.
Yeah, and
Heath coming on,
yeah.
giving us that aspect.
You got a creature on your shoulder.
Oh, he's good. Go, dude.
We're out in the wilderness.
We're out here literally in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Just for you guys.
Just in the creek.
Just in the creek.
But I think it's cool, man. I've learned a lot from it, honestly, just by just hearing it. You know, it's really heartfelt to me, just because, you know, we've all kind of went through it, and just hearing everybody's like what they're doing with their life, and how bad really can turn into good, but you have to go through these different things in life to really learn. And I think that's where everybody, like, you know, forgets that. It's like they think everything's going to crap at all at once, and then like they forget everything's going to be okay. But sometimes you have to do things to get there.
Now, 100%, I know in my walk, it's just like you were saying, things are going to crap, as you said. Things are bad at times, but it's almost, me and Holmes talked about this, I have to learn to love my life when it's terrible.
When it sucks.
When it sucks, just as much as when it's good, because we're saying, hey, when I get here financially, when I get here in a relationship, when I get here in this point in time, I can allow myself to be happy.
And
I can't.
That's like the only way to be truly happy. I feel like when you achieve success, too, it doesn't fix anything, it just amplifies everything. So if you're already sad before you achieve success, and you think success is going to make you happy, it just makes you 10 times more sad.
Yeah, but you have to be good in here first.
Yeah, that's
like
what we're talking
yeah,
about.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, well, I'm just reiterating. I'm just saying. But people don't understand. It's like, oh, all these things are going to make me happy. But if you're not happy inside, then what?
Which makes the problem worse.
Yeah, what is it? What? Like, that makes no sense to me. I mean, now, I used to think the same thing.
Yeah.
So that's where I relate to everybody.
Yeah.
So it's like, until we go through that darkness, that straight just punch in the face, man, and the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
Like you say all the time, dude. It's really now in the point of our lives, it's like, what can you take away from it? Nothing.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
So, like, what? We've already had everything kind of stripped from us.
Yeah.
So why, what is there to worry about? We've already seen it.
Yeah.
Now we know what to do.
Yeah.
So step by step, I feel like, you know, that's where, but that's the cool thing about everybody's story, is we don't all do it the same.
No.
So, like, hearing everybody how they do it, you know, and get through it, and, like, it all kind of leads to one thing, right? But really it's different in a sense, just by how people go through it, how they got through it in their mind, what they did to do that, and how they got there and where they went to fix.
Yeah.
That's the coolest thing to me. And especially with Carl, man, just like how, like, it's cool in a sense of seeing, like, law enforcement, how they want to
change.
Yeah, how they want to help.
Yeah.
How one officer, you know, and I know there's plenty of them out there. They're like, they see a drug addict or like addicts or people with mental health, and they just think the worst. They're like, well, your punishment. Yeah,
And he brought up a good point. He was just saying how he don't look at them as bad people. He looks at their behaviors as bad. Now they have to suffer the consequences of those behaviors.
yeah,
But he still like changed how he viewed people.
Yeah.
Just because you do bad things doesn't make you innately bad, and just because you do good things doesn't make you innately good.
You're not inherently your mistakes. You're not inherently your successes either.
Exactly, and you're not defined by those, but still you have to reap the consequences of those behaviors. Now they could be so they could be bad behavior or they could be good behavior. There's good consequences. We don't want to talk. People say consequences. My mind goes to the bad things.
right.
Well, no, there's good things, good consequences as well. But what I was going to say a second ago is I had to, I guess, redefine what happiness meant to me. And I think of what happiness is. Oh, I'm happy, smiling. No. That's not necessarily happiness for me.
Yeah.
Because that's not realistic.
Yeah.
I'm not going to always wake up and want to go do these things, go to work, do the best I can do. So what is it that I can redefine in my mind? What does my ideal life look like?
Right. In the book, Be Here Now, Ram Dass talks about it as the karmic yoga of daily life.
Yeah.
And it's like we were saying, just loving all those terrible times and being able, like, oh, I'm grateful I get to do this thing that you think would suck, but it's like you're grateful you get to do these things. And it sounds simple and butterfly, but whatever. It's true.
Yeah.
And two, just I guess reiterating, going back to when we had Heath on, and he's a great mind. He's a clinical mind in that. And that's the way he studies and he kind of views people. But he's like, if you don't meet people where they're at, it doesn't matter what you know, where you've been, what knowledge you have.
Right.
If you cannot relate to them and reach an understanding, I don't care if you're a doctor, if you're whatever you are, if there's not something that we can relate in a human-to-human conversation where we can start understanding your side of things and my side of things and have those conversations that suck.
Yeah.
And those are honest ones, because like when we were on Pam's show the other day, we're talking about, say, things in the church. So lying in the church, premarital sex in the church, adultery in the church, people stealing in the church. Those things are happening.
Right.
Yeah.
Whether we want to, they think this is the church. Oh, it's not. No, those things are happening. So if I am to shed light on things in my life, I have to start confronting those things with a conversation and the truth.
Yeah.
And no matter how uncomfortable it is, I might get punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
But I'd rather be punched in the mouth than let it go than my life be ended because I'm afraid or it's uncomfortable. Oh, it makes me uncomfortable. I'm anxious. I'm like, I want to cry. Like, bro, that's part of it.
Yes.
Yeah, being a hypocrite too. It's like a lot of these people, post on social media and they're like, be nice to people.
Yeah.
But they're the ones being terrible people.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? And I think, like, really, like, being conscious about stuff to the fact where but you have to, like, change your well-being, of how you actually go day to day and how you change that. I feel like, and especially learning from everybody we kind of had on as well, is like just being a good person.
Yeah.
Like you have to. We've done so many bad things in our life that we really didn't know how to be good until we got a sober mind. Honestly, like, and I'm not saying like just getting sober is like gonna change everything. No, but it helps.
Yeah.
You're more conscious of things.
Yeah.
I am.
You're clear.
You have to be able to clear your head to process.
Yes, to be clear-minded on it and not be emotionally kind of
You have to have
you got to kind of be on that neutral path of, we're still human. You're going to get emotional about some things, but you're still clear-headed on regulating.
You have a ground.
Yeah.
You're grounded.
Yeah.
And I want to say this, man. We say these things not as we have achieved these things,
No.
or we're there, or speaking in some kind of elevated sense.
That's what we're aiming towards.
Yeah.
Yes, well, that's what we're aiming for.
Yeah.
But we're speaking
Yeah.
from that we struggle with these things
Absolutely.
still
Yeah.
every single
Every day.
It never
Every
gets
day.
easy.
No.
That's the beauty of life.
It
Yeah.
gets harder.
Yeah.
It gets harder. And I mean, but that's the beauty of it is like, and I don't want to keep just going back to sober, but like we're doing it how life's supposed to be lived too.
Yeah.
You know, it's not instead of me running to a drink or like, you know,
Right? You have to deal with those.
yeah,
emotions.
like, but where I
They
say
suck.
it, it's hard, but it's easier because I'm conscious, and it's that where I was
It
drinking,
makes
and,
you stronger when you can't use your crutches.
right, and like
You can learn to walk.
Yeah.
where
Learn to
everything felt so big and like everything was
Yeah.
caving in, then it was like, but now I'm just like, it's a simple phone call sometimes.
Yeah.
Where I was scared, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People get so scared because we're doing bad things. So those reflect on our life,
Yeah.
you know, and like that's where I've learned, man. Like that's where like I can't go back. I tell you this all the time. I tell you this too. Like I can't go back. There's no way I can go back because of all the big crazy things that I thought were so bad. How so minute, so small they are, man. And I just feel like, you know, why we're doing this podcast is like that's the main reason.
Yeah.
Is dude, it's helping me tremendously just
Yeah.
hearing these things. A, talking about it.
Yeah.
B, just like hanging out with you guys.
Yep.
And just like just meeting people too, man. How
I met
And-
so many cool new people
Yeah.
through doing
That
this
you
for
would never
guys.
thought. You
Yeah.
would never think those. You're like, yeah, you're talking about just a run of the mill, and you're like, man,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah. And, you know, I met them all for you guys, obviously. I don't really know many people down here, but I do now.
Yeah.
and like that, and that's the thing, man. And like I feel like what we're doing, man, is also not only just with bringing awareness, man, like, but just like you said, talking about the hard things in life is key points to where we grow. I know we cue on it all the time, but it's the truth, and I it's helped me so much where I've become more honest, man. I've you know, I don't have to go and lie. You
Yeah.
know, and it gets you nowhere. And I'm starting to become, again, working on it, like becoming my true self.
Right.
And like, man, I'm grateful for it, honestly. And I love that we're doing it, and I want to see how far we can take it. And that's where, like, I feel like we're having this conversation with people and stuff like that. And like, it's like on my part, man, like, and I don't want to like break off the subject, but like I know we've talked about it. It's like starting organizations, scholarships to help people. Like that's our general idea of this. Where I feel like when we were at the farm, where we
We're
We all-
sitting down
we-
talking about
yeah,
it.
like we talked about this
Yeah.
all the time. You know, like half the time, like me and you started it, like just or like starting to think when we were hitting golf ball. You know, walking around, we were talking about vlogging. Or, you
Still
know,
dope sick.
yeah, and
Still
just-
dope sick. Dude. Feeling miserable.
but how those like crazy, not crazy, but I say we kind of started it as a joke, not really, but how it transformed into where we want it to be.
Yeah.
And like that's where we want it, is to help people.
Yeah.
Because it's helping
That's
us.
the whole focal point of it.
Yeah. So like I just feel like, but at the same time I want to tell everybody too is like where we're trying to come across is like where we want to lead to is more, we want more, you know, to help people.
Yeah.
So I mean, whenever we get to that point, we cross it. But I feel like that's where we want to go.
absolutely.
That's where it's headed. You plant seeds with hard work and patience. And
Yeah. Absolutely. And you're doing things. We're being honest.
yeah.
We're not doing any kind of shady things.
Right.
And we're really trying to do it with
Love.
Like
with love. Yeah.
we don't.
Exactly.
There's no
with love.
profit.
That's the truth.
That's
There's no-
the ultimate thing that humans can do. And the most powerful emotion we have. You know, so you really can't. Like you said, the dark doesn't fight the light when you turn on the light in a dark room. Like,
I was telling Holden, it's like, have you ever flicked on a light switch and the dark and the light were fighting and then the light just wins? Never one time have I ever did that. When you flick on that light, it's instantly light.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I'm saying, to shine truth on my life, there's never no fight. When you hit something with the truth, it don't matter. It could be stood on a million lies. You hit it with one truth, it crumbles.
Yeah.
There's no fight there.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest thing, because I know with me, you believe those lies. Our life has been built on these lies. So when you finally get the truth, you feel your life does crumble. Boom.
Yeah.
But when you start building on truth, it's longer, harder, it's more intense.
bigger, faster, stronger.
Yeah. But
For real,
it takes more time.
Yeah.
But when you build those things on those truths, when, like the Bible says, when that storm comes, you have that foundation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When those lies hit, the truth's like, no.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you say, because this is what the foundations of our life are built on, is this absolute truth.
Yeah.
Being honest, working hard, looking at somebody in the eyes and say, I'm just being honest with you, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Hey, this is where I'm at, this is where you're at, I can't meet you right there, right now. Hey, this is where I'm trying to go, are you with me? Because when I know when we're growing, there are going to be people in your life that you love that will start getting refined out of your life, burned in a sense out of your life.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing, and it hurts, but for us to keep getting refined, those things have to go. And it's hot. There's pressure involved. There's people that are going to say, man, Dad, what are you doing? People you love, like, hey, doubts. And you're going to doubt yourself at times. But when the continued process of you keep refining yourself, that it starts to take care of itself at that
Yeah.
point.
And some people don't want to see you do better. Everybody's like, what are you doing? Like
Yeah.
you were fine before, you know?
Yeah.
And like, and
It's because when they see someone else change, they know in the back of their mind they should be doing the same thing.
thing.
And it's scary, it's tough, and it's work. And naturally, we seek comfort. The comfort is like the enemy of success.
that's what I love about that. It's making us uncomfortable. Like, bro, I've never put myself in positions I have in my entire life. You know, it's waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning every morning. It's doing all these like small things. Like when we had you on that one time, we were talking, and you said too how you
It's the most important.
that adds up.
Yeah.
And your routine, man. Like I've never
Forcing yourself to do stuff you don't want
I've never had a routine.
discipline.
Yeah, and like exactly creates discipline, and like, and it's I see changes, and like, and somehow I'm trying to brag, but like people, the most important people in my life see it too, and they reiterate it to me all the time. But it helps me in my sense because I'm like, okay, I am, you know, because we all self doubt ourselves. Like I do. I'm like,
We're still
Damn,
insecure
I'm like,
about something. I am. I know
Yeah.
I am insecure about
like
things.
I'm for sure. It's those times. So I want to say to the people too, man. Like you see people doing good, tell them. You know what I mean? Like tell them, because that people need to hear it. People are so focused on so many negative things in life right now that nobody knows what to think or say at the time. I know, you know what I mean? Like that makes any sense, because first of all, people don't want to see you getting up and doing good, and you getting thrown out so many negative things. We see so many negative things, and like I feel like that's what is hurting everybody. Generations, like the younger generations, man, they're so depressed because of so many negative things they see, or who they want to follow, or they're trying to be something they're not, you know, and like you can't do that. It never works. You have to figure out who you are and be that, and and we're gonna figure it out for the rest of our
And
lives.
it's tough. That's the hardest thing you'll ever have to do, man. Because you're going to fail figuring things out.
Yeah,
You know,
and
you're
it's
gonna fall.
okay.
Yeah, you're going to say, I mean, I shouldn't have done that. I absolutely should. I was wrong.
But you tried.
Yeah, and I respect people saying, You know, like if you want to go out and do things by yourself.
Yeah.
Man, people are going to say, oh my God, look, he failed. But you know what? I have respect for people that put themselves out there and say, you know, like, hey, this is going to be hard. It's going to be tough, but they put themselves out there and they go for it.
Yeah.
Because look, like you were saying earlier, what are you going to take away from you? Freedom's been taken, houses, cars, money, everything's been taken away from me. So really, if I take a risk in a conscious, sober mind, talking with wise people, sober people that literally love you, that want the best for you, they're going to be honest with you, and then you go out there and take a risk and you fail, man, hey, heck yeah, what did that teach you?
Yeah.
What did that teach you? It's not like of course it hurts. Of course you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm a failure. But man, 90% of people don't even have the balls to even do that. Because we, like you're saying, you want to seek that comfort, that security, okay? And I know from in my walk,
That's
all that
brand.
yes, but that was stripped away from me, and I was forced to stand.
Yeah.
Those crutches right there, and yeah, you're wobbly. You might fall down and have to crawl a little bit, but through time, you're starting to learn to walk and grind up. And people come and they help you when they legitimately see, like, hey man, this guy's trying to do what he or she needs to do to better not only themselves, because we say this all the time. Change starts with me. If I want to change the way I live, the way my wife is, the kids are, it starts with me.
Yeah.
And if I'm making myself better, I in turn are making the people around me better.
Yeah.
And that's how, therefore, I change not only my household, but my community and the bigger things.
So that's what I say too. Like, I had a conversation with my little cousin the other day about that kind of stuff. And I say this because he's 15. And like, I get, and I always tell him, it's like, you have to be 15 before you're any other. You got to be 14 before you're 15. You got to be 15 before you're 16. But you also got to learn valuable lessons as you go. Because I was never taught that. I wasn't. I had to figure it out. And I try to, like, tell them these things because, it's like, it all starts at home. It's, as we all were when we were 15, hated doing dishes. We all hate doing it now. But you have to do it.
Yeah.
And that's what I always try to tell them is, like, dude, it all starts at home. Because if you're doing it at home, you're going to do it everywhere else. And, like, he's about to get a job. He's about to do all these things. I'm like, dude, you got to think about, because somebody's going to tell you something, your boss, going to tell you something you don't want to do.
Yeah.
If you tell them no, you're going home. You have no job because they're going to find somebody else that wants that.
What are you willing to do, man?
And you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to do it. First of all, because you're 16, you're starting, you never had a job. They're going to make you do it. You know what I mean? So it's like, but I feel like not even just in the 16-year-old aspect, it's more people, even our age, that don't even get that concept.
Yeah.
And like,
man, and if I'm honest with y'all, I was taught all those things at home, but I'm just innately the type of person, it's hard for me to learn through secondhand experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too.
And it's like, I knew what they were saying, but I didn't understand what they were saying, my mom and dad, until all these things. I went to jail. I went to rehab.
Yeah.
I was delinquent on car payments. Real things started happening, and then my life was over in a sense of all these things were taken away. And when I think back, I'm like, man, if I could just, I guess, listen to them.
Yeah.
But now, it's just when somebody says, hey, I'm a drug addict, you don't have to tell me nothing else. I understand.
Yeah.
You don't tell, hey, I was sad, I wanted to kill myself, I was depressed, I didn't have nothing. You can tell me that. That's fine. I'm not saying you don't, but like,
I feel you.
I know exactly where you've been and what you came out of.
And there are people that understand that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like,
and it's nothing to be ashamed of either. There's nothing to be ashamed of. The Bible says a righteous man falls down 7 and gets up.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're 55, 85, 15.
Yeah.
You're going to fail at different things. It's the resilient things a part of us that say, you know what? I'm harder than this, man.
Yeah.
I've learned things in my life that literally have made me into this moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, really. But I know we're about to have a few people more on.
Yeah.
Some really cool people. Not saying anything. The people we've already had on are extremely intelligent, cool, talented people.
Oh yeah.
But we got some, and I don't want to ruin it, but we got some very unique people. Let's just say that
Yeah.
coming on that tell a different perspective on their lives, and they're not. Some of them are not drug addicts.
No.
Some of them haven't lost their house. But I think their stories are very important for people maybe out there watching that cannot relate to a drug addict, to an alcoholic, to somebody who everything's went to hell and back. You know, they might have had a sick kid, lost a parent, been through a divorce, whatever their life may be, or they might just be depressed, dealing with anxiety, whatever the condition may be. Innately, we all deal with different things, okay? But we definitely have some unique people coming on, you know. So,
And that's where I think too, man, is what's going to be the cool part about as we grow with this. Just because, like, giving people more information, obviously, about how to do things. Because if you don't know what to do, then how do you do it?
yeah.
You know, so I think that's where we want to go with it, man. And
Yeah.
and you know, and
Offer them tools. Because I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
A second ago, you said awareness. Like, of course, we can be aware of a problem. You can be aware of danger, but how do you deal with that?
Yeah.
What is a tool that I can use to actually start confronting this? Because we can be aware of a million different things, but we don't feel necessarily equipped to deal with those things.
Yeah.
So that's what we're saying, like, hey, you got to address the problem, but then, hey, yeah, I know I have a problem or I have an issue. What do I do next?
yeah,
How do I think like the church, rehabs, different foundations, they do a good job of identifying problems, but then they're not necessarily teaching those people with those problems the skills, the tools, what they need to do.
Yeah.
To get out of that, to get away from that, to build from that, whatever it is. But if you want to be better, I promise you there are resources, tools, people who really care that's all they want to see you do is do better.
and we're gonna have them on.
Yeah, and we're going to have those type of people
We're
on.
gonna have them on.
And I'm thankful to have those, man. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for you. Man, it's just, it's a blessing to me every single day that I have people that I can honestly sit here in the middle of a freaking creek, in the middle of,
you too, Chris.
thanks guys.
I love you too, Lord.
Yeah, thanks. But we're in the middle of Blount County to have these conversations, that people are willing to do these things, to really, this is how I give back. Man.
Yeah.
And how I feel I can make a difference.
Yeah, same here.
So,
That's why we do it.
yeah.
That's why we do it.
Heck yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we good?
Love you, dude.
I love you.
You're the man, Holden. I appreciate y'all.
We
Thank
love
y'all for tuning in.
you.
Yeah.